Albert Einstein, Richard Feynman, Herbert Hauptman, Ada Lovelace, and Leonardo da Vinci. What do you think all of these people had in common? Maybe you would think, oh, science, or oh, innovation. And I mean, you wouldn't be wrong. But let's dig a little deeper, because these people also shared something a little bit more subtle: music. Einstein played the violin, Feynman played the bongos, Hauptmann also played the violin, Lovelace played the harp and the piano, and Da Vinci, he actually loved music so much that he invented his own musical instrument called the viola organista. To these people, playing music wasn't just a hobby. To these people, playing music was a way to reach territories of their minds that would otherwise have gone completely unexplored. Now, those of you here who are a little bit more critical may have recognized another similarity: that all of these people are completely dead. So why should we in the big 2026 even care about what their hobbies were? Because now we have things like goat yoga, which are obviously better alternatives, right? Well, allow me to tell you how music can change your life from top to bottom and start to finish. Let's begin at the start. I want you to imagine yourself as an infant, fresh out of the womb, no acne, and absorbing everything around you like a sponge. We tend to say our first words between 12 and 18 months old. Your first mama or dada is weighted with such significance, you can't deny that language is a vital part of what makes us human. But what if I told you that in the brains of babies, music and language are fundamentally indistinguishable? To a baby's brain, listening to Paganini or Adele has the same effect as learning that A is for apple. But why? When we speak, there's always a natural rhythm. Some syllables sound right when they're stressed, but some don't. Let's try it out. I want you to repeat after me. A is for apple. Great job. That's how you would say it in your natural rhythm of speech. But now let's try changing the rhythm. Repeat after me again. A is for apple. That's kind of more uncomfortable to say, isn't it? Yet, when we speak, we don't manually think about stressing one syllable and not the other. This is because you learn these rhythmic rules of speech in your subconscious infant mind, so that they turn sort of instinctual. Babies absorb the sonic structure of their native language the same way that we listen to music. Because to them, words don't have meaning yet. Words are just sounds. So, by keeping music close during childhood, you can get higher grades for your GCSE English language papers. Sounds too good to be true, right? But of course, there's so much more that comes with improved language than just academics. Language is your most powerful tool. English proficiency is a better predictor of well-being than income, because language not only gives you the ability to articulate your own thoughts, but also to fully comprehend that of others. And that's what music really is, isn't it? A language without words. It trains you not only to listen and to express, but most importantly, also to understand meaning that goes far beyond mere vocabulary. Now, what about the present? What are your main goals right now? Maybe you want to join the running club or finish this book you're reading. Well, whatever they are, I'm sure you all wouldn't mind becoming smarter, right? Let's rewind a little bit. June of 2025. On the morning of my very first GCSE math exam, I wasn't doing past papers, nor was I watching revision videos on YouTube. I was playing Bach's Chaconne on my violin. Weird, right? That's how I also kind of felt at the time. All I know is that I wanted to rest before the big tests, but I was still really scared. What if this was costing me my marks? What if I was missing out on revising that one skill, that one topic? But when I walked out of the exam hall that evening, I did not regret the decision I'd made earlier that day. And that's when I noticed the wonder of it. I was preparing for a mathematics exam by doing something that wasn't even remotely related to the subject, by playing my violin. So, I did some research, and apparently playing music has lots of benefits for growing minds. And I could go on for hours about this, but that's going to be kind of boring for you guys. So I'll put it like this. If you presented any of these people with two brains, one of a musician and the other of a non-musician, they would be able to tell you which one belonged to which. And here's how. The red areas here show brain regions which are physically larger in musicians. Blue shows areas which improved functionally. And purple, both. And I'm not just amplifying obvious correlations like the auditory cortex, for example. These improved brain regions include areas which are responsible for things like attentional focus, configure learning, and working memory. To reiterate, practicing a musical instrument has the power to morph your brain in ways in which your cognitive abilities are improved. It can make physical and tangible changes to your thinking machine. But that's not all. I'm sure many of you are familiar with university entrance exams like the UCAT and the TSA. And for those of you who aren't, these are assessments that top universities such as Oxbridge, UCL, and Imperial require as a part of your application. And students often find themselves struggling to revise for these assessments, simply because they're not your average content-based multiple choice. The questions tend to examine cognitive potential, not your ability to remember keywords. And this is exactly why your average revision methods like active recall, mind maps, or flashcards will prove themselves to be highly ineffective. But something else can help you. Practicing music. There's a pattern to what these exams measure, and it's always some combination of verbal comprehension and visual problem solving. Well, when presented with 3DMR, visual, and verbal recall tasks, musicians consistently outperformed non-musicians, presenting both quicker response times and more accurate answers. So, this hobby, it can improve your linguistic abilities, it can get you better grades, and it can help you get into your dream university. Damn. Now, let's imagine you're 90 years old. You're in the final chapter of your life, and you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting this horrible disease called dementia. A study conducted in 2014 by Dr. Alison Ballback investigated twins where one had dementia but not the other. And when she studied the subjects' histories, a musical background was found in 78% of the healthy group, but only in 37% of the case group. Why? Here's my take. There's an aspect of musicianship which is considered one of the most intelligently demanding things you can ask for from your brain. Sight reading is when you simultaneously read and play a piece of music that you've never seen before. And only a handful of activities rival sight reading in brain activation, and these are things like performing microsurgery or piloting a spacecraft. These intense brain workouts strengthen the connections in your brain, making them more difficult to be broken by things like dementia. And this is exactly why playing music is medically prescribed, not only as a non-pharmacological treatment for dementia, but also as a highly effective protective measure in preventing cognitive impairment. Einstein once said, "If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician." Now, some of you might be relieved that he didn't choose to pursue music, because then we wouldn't know things like E equals MC squared. Some of you might even blame music for wasting his time when he could have spent it making even more great discoveries. But have you ever considered that maybe, just maybe, Einstein wouldn't have been Einstein as we know him without his violin? In an ideal world, every single one of you sitting here today will walk out of this TED Talk and pick up a new instrument. But not to perform, not for your portfolio, and certainly not for an ABRSM grade. Play music to improve your communication skills. Play music to secure your future. Play music to unlock a whole new inner universe. Because if used correctly, this hobby can absolutely transform your life from top to bottom and start to finish. Thank you.